Hi everyone, my name is Yana, and I'm a Google logistics specialist. I handle delivering a business's target audience with the required parameters. I scale online sales for businesses in different countries around the world using Google Ads tools. And in today's video, we'll also be looking at a team case study. Our topic is dietary supplements, and our market is Ukraine. Our target CPM is a cost per conversion of up to 250 hryvnias. Before this, the client was only using direct search. You can even take a look. We have it right here. You can see how long or short the search lasted, just for example. And of course, the cost per conversion is from search. You can see that search was delivering a pretty decent price and number of conversions. It's all clear here, no doubt about it. So, we also added Performance Max on top of that. So if you're only running search campaigns, don't forget that product campaigns can actually give you pretty good results as well. What challenges did we face? One of them was that the cost per conversion wasn't always good, right from the start. We gradually collected conversions over time. I wouldn't say it's an absolutely amazing result, but we did manage to achieve some relative scaling, a spike in traffic, and stabilization of the cost per conversion. Because it's better to collect a lower cost per conversion in batches, with statistically significant analytics, so that it's easier to scale up later. Why is that? Because the main share of conversions comes from PMax campaigns. In this case, PMax campaigns are actually quite finicky types of ad campaigns. Right now, a lot of Googlers are making changes to them, and they learn faster. You can see it right away from the algorithms they use. And you can also see that they reach the values you need much more quickly. And what are those values you need, usually? Of course, it's usually the cost per conversion or the return on investment that we want to achieve. And another reason I want to show this case is to demonstrate that things don't always go so smoothly. You see, during this period, we weren't hitting our target cost per conversion at all while we were training the AI to achieve a certain result. Usually, the first 2 weeks are spent on optimization. So, what are these 2 weeks of optimization? That's what I call them, because during this period, we're testing structures. We're figuring out what works better for conversions, what works worse, which products can be scaled and fit into the KPIs, and which ones can't be scaled. Or, for example, need their conversion rate adjusted so they can start getting those conversions. Maybe adjustments to the feeds, testing structures, strategies, and so on. Basically, over these 2 weeks, we usually find that scaling point, that leverage point in the analytics, which we then try to lock in and scale up even more over the next 2 weeks. Of course, it's great if during this period we manage to stabilize the cost per conversion, keeping it more or less within a pretty tight range with some margin. Because it doesn't take much brains to burn through all the margin or all the CPM. But gradually scaling up and training the AI to generate a lower cost per conversion is usually a key factor, a crucial nuance, when scaling any project. Supplements, let me remind you, are not a super easy niche to sell in. There's quite a lot of specifics here regarding the types of products you're selling. What is the supplement used for, and why? How competitive is it? Which competitors are present in the auction? How aggressive are they? And so on. So here, you need to keep a balance between different factors, conditionally speaking, between various factors. For now, the growth in conversions is steady and gradual. So if I remove all the charts right now, you can see how positive the trend is. Here, the stabilization is going upward. In terms of the number of conversions, I wouldn't say this is the maximum number of conversions you can get here. It would be possible to scale up the numbers even faster. You see how they look like steps? You could call this a kind of stepwise scaling, where we try to push into the traffic and see how well or poorly it works. Because here, the conversion rate still means a lot. The higher it is, the easier it is to scale, basically. Ours hasn't been super high over this whole period, because ideally, well, it's average. You could say, like hospital average, but it would be better if it reached some more stable, higher levels. But for now, the first 2 weeks are for stabilization and optimization, and then we'll see if we can increase it. The cost per conversion, as you can see, also didn't look like anything impressive or beautiful in terms of analytics during the first 2 weeks. Accordingly, we had to be careful with the traffic. Why? Because it's very easy to train PMax to generate a higher cost per conversion, even though here the cost per conversion was a bit lower. Yes, about 10 conversions at 61 hryvnias each. But overall, there were situations when our cost per conversion was quite high. To stabilize this somehow, we needed to work on the conversion rate to make it more stable and predictable. And so, right now, this period of time is much more stable, as you can see. For example, the cost per conversion is 149 hryvnias on March 18th, which shows a much smoother trend in the statistics and analytics. During these periods, it's 227, even though there aren't that many sales. Here, you need to maintain a certain balance. A balance in what? You need to understand that the AI is learning very quickly right now, but how exactly is it learning? Maybe before it had some kind of more advanced algorithm built in. Let's put it this way, it was given more freedom in terms of scaling attempts. Now, if you look at it, the AI is actually working faster, which probably means it's been restricted within certain learning mechanics. Prediction models, predicted RE coefficient, conversion rate, and where it should be shown, and so on. So, accordingly, now it can reach the values you set for it much faster. In other words, if before, you could start with small profitability targets and gradually scale them up, now you can set certain profitability targets and it will reach those actual values very quickly. That's why it's very important to set either a higher midpoint, analytics, yes, correctly, and one that you can actually handle moving forward. So, for example, if there are fluctuations in the cost per conversion in your test campaign variance, or you can immediately train it on smoother, slower dynamics of how conversions will be obtained. Overall, I'm showing this with a demonstration of conversion costs and performance. To once again confirm that the results you can achieve here are not, how should I put it? A result of some random chance, but rather the outcome of specific, consistent actions within the advertising account. Therefore, accordingly, this also affects the overall picture that is taking shape for us here right now. So, basically, if you stabilize it, make sure of the size of this result. And if you keep stabilizing it, then this stepwise movement mechanic, meaning there are these so-called steps, will continue, but only with a larger number of conversions. That's a small case study like this. I think we'll keep working with the client. Next, we'll try to achieve an even greater number of conversions. That could be stable not just in volume, right, because we managed to get to about 5 conversions steadily, but the cost per conversion wasn't stable everywhere. We stabilized the cost per conversion. Now the goal is to scale up the number of conversions. Here we have 8, now 10. So, there's no drop down to 5 like there was before. That's the case. I wanted to show you today.